we will do that. So let me go live and find out where we are on Facebook.
Let's find those that are ready to take action.
Ready. Share into your news feed.
Because it's not enough to be at the right place at the right time, right?
Right.
You gotta be the right person at the right place at the right time. And we are proudly offering that opportunity.
Thanks for filling in the dead space while I'm loading up Facebook.
Yes.
Is it live or is it Memorex? It just takes a while. So,
I got people missing my mohawk though. It's gone.
Yeah, it's all gone.
is that by choice?
Changing it up.
They said that's part of your identity. I said, well, I'm not gonna let that define me.
Sorry. You look ready for spring. Maybe you'll throw some of the snow out of here with that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for more snow. I need one giant snowfall. I'm looking for like 6 to 8 inches so we can build an igloo, snowmen, sledding ramps, you name it. I'm ready.
That'd be fun. No one wants to play in the snow over here.
It's the driving that you're leery of. It's the driving in the snow that people are like, it's not that I don't trust myself, it's trusting the other people.
All right.
Are we live now on Facebook?
I'm going to trust that we are live on Facebook.
You didn't catch that huge admittance I just had, did you?
You Call It changed my life. And we're going to talk about You Call It today with none other than Coach Steve Trezek, who came up with this conception. We'll find out how and why he did that. And my great friend, Amy Izzo, fellow real estate agent in the great state of Indiana and Illinois. And Amy just did her 50th You Call It this morning. So, Steve, tell us about You Call It.
You Call It is just as the name suggests. You show up to a virtual platform, ready to move your body for 30 consecutive minutes. You call the movement, we all do the movement. So here's what happened. We're going back in our time machine to March of 2020, right when the pandemic was starting to take grasp and take hold. The COVID crisis was taking place, and the pivotal part on this was that the gyms were closing down. So I reside in the Midwest area, right in the suburbs of Chicago. And so we started closing our gyms down. I noticed the panic that was happening and, what am I going to do? The gyms are closing. I have my routine. And then I also know people that wanted to start getting into the gym. However, they felt that it was an obstacle or a barricade that the gyms were closing. And now what do I do? So when you feel helpless, because I actually felt helpless at a point, I'm like, gosh, I've been doing this for 20 plus years in the gym. Like, that's my routine as well. I have home equipment and gym equipment when it's conducive or I have a tight schedule. But when you feel helpless, we just have to be helpful. And so what I did was I said, all right, I made a real decision. I said, there's a better way. There's a way that we can get more people moving and keep them active. And so I can't even tell you where I came up with the idea. It was just one of those where I said, I'm already familiar with the Zoom platform. What if we were to get as many people as we could together and just move in an organized fashion? We don't know what we're going to do, right? It's like, we don't know what the next exercise is going to be. It's so unique. It's unpredictable what the 30 minutes of movement's going to be, because you call it, you show up and we all do the movement. So we do, 25, 26 different exercises consecutively for 30 minutes. It's awesome. So we've talked about for so long that this started in March 23rd, 2020. That's the day that we had decided to all collectively get together. But I'll say it actually started on March 20th because that was a Friday and I had talked about it. And apparently I didn't promote it well enough because the only people that showed up was myself and my kids for the first day. So I'm on this Zoom platform. I'm like, hey, let's get together and let's move our body. It was called You Called at the time and still is. And I said, I can do this for a week. Let's get some energy. Let's get some enthusiasm. Let's get people to come together synergistically and get ourselves to move our body, to forget about the worry and the panic that's happening in the pandemic. And then sure enough, on the 20th, which was a Friday, March 2020, nobody shows up. So I thought to myself, what a great opportunity for me to at least demonstrate what this is going to be. So we still did the exercise. My kids and I, we all called different movements for 30 minutes. It might have been 20 minutes just to give an idea of what it was about. And what I did was I recorded that and then shared that video over the weekend, and people started to understand the concept. Because I didn't have anything to show, nothing tangible to say, this is what You Call It was. I had it in my mind, I had the vision. But then come Monday, we had a great turnout. I mean, I want to say there was probably 6 to 8 people that showed up on the first class. And Gayle Zintek, you were one of them that I offered and said, hey, I want to invite you to this You Call It. And I know at that moment, you yourself were extremely intrigued and inspired to get your health journey on the right tracks, and you were already doing it, but this was sort of the catalyst that really started striking.
I had no movement in my life.
Yeah.
And so March 20th I have a picture of March 20th, and that was the picture that told me that I needed to do some work. And it was the last time I was with my daughter. It was her 40th birthday on March 20th. And so I was with all 3 of my children, which is kind of a rarity, went to get all 3 of the kids together. And the pandemic was starting to, like, people were saying you can't be together as even as families. And so I remember Friday night, and I use that picture a lot to remind myself of where I was and where I am now. But I showed up on the 23rd on Monday, and I still go back and look at it. I didn't like the concept of exercising. You hear it, and hanging around with you for a couple months prior to that, like I was in your proximity, so I knew that you were the fitness guy. I knew that it was important. You shared nutrition, you shared fitness, and to be honest, I wasn't going to the gym, and I didn't have any plans to go to the gym. But doing the You Call It, I knew 5 moves. I could call 5, but I still got shy and let Joey call crab walks, which I still remember to this day because I couldn't do them.
Regretfully so, right?
No, we did that this morning. Beverly called crab walks, and I'm like, it takes me back. There's those moments. So for me, it'll always be March 23rd was the day that stands out for me in infamy as like that was the day I started my movement journey. Amy, tell us when you started your movement journey and how that transpired into where you are now with the You Call It.
So March 18th, I started my movement journey, or not March, May 18th, sorry, May 18th of 2020. I had March on the brain. May 18th of last year, I started movement, and I really just started with walking 15 minutes a day and grew it from there. Really wasn't moving at all prior to that. I was on a weight loss journey, but I wasn't moving, and I knew I needed to move to keep getting healthier in the right way. I tried a You Call It in May, but I wasn't quite ready for it yet. So I kind of hid out and watched what everyone did for a while. And then I don't know the date I got back in, but I know that today I did my 50th You Call It. So I'll have to figure out what my official one was. But I've done my 50th You Call It now. And it's a part of my daily routine for sure, Monday through Friday, part of my daily routine. And I love it. It's really made me stronger, and it's fun. It's just so much fun to get together with everybody and work out together.
So let's talk about that for a second, because the energy when you're live, like this morning, we were doing it at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. I host a live session, but someone called jumping jacks, and Amy, she was going, and I'm like, I got to keep up with Amy. I'm going, and that was our second set. And like at the end, it was like, Amy, I thank you for motivating me to keep going. We did 67 jumping jacks in 60 seconds, and so that's part of being live is you can feed off the energy of one another and keeping going. So Steve, did you ever think that was March 23rd when people started showing up? Did you ever think that here we are on January 18th, 2021, and now there's like at least 2 You Call It's a day going, and then some days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, there's 3 going on. So what did you think was going to happen back in March of 2020?
I thought back in March it was going to be a week. maybe 2 weeks that I'd be able to lead and have some of the bandwidth that I had to be able to host and essentially coach and walk you through the movements and all that. However, it really gained some popularity pretty quickly. And so I became uh, very married to the fact that this had legs on it now. Like this was something that I became a part of. And so it became 1 week into 2 weeks, and then it was a month, and it was 3 months. And I believe I had 3.5, maybe 4 months where I was able to be there and in attendance and provide the service. And I sat back very frequently and asked myself, and I took the time to ask, how can I better serve? Like, how can I better produce? And then so I wanted to get other people involved. I wanted to get, I asked Gayle to lead at one point, right? So I asked you, and we had that conversation. You weren't quite ready yet because that could be a daunting task to lead an entire group of people into a workout session, especially when you're just learning the body weight movements in the biomechanics of our body. And then we have, the fortunate privilege of Rosemary, and Nate has been a strong force, and Prerna. And I've been very grateful to say that today on January 18th, we're still doing You Call It with no end in sight of ever really ending, because we have this winning streak going. We have this momentum. We have integrity momentum. We're doing the things that we told ourselves we were going to do. And every one of them, like every single one of these classes, there's not been one You Call It that has been replicated. No. It's all so different. And that's what I appreciate about it, because you just don't know what you're going to get. You have no idea what to expect getting into the class, which creates anticipation, excitement, enthusiasm. So it's been awesome. And I got to thank you, Gayle, for taking the torch and just running with it. And to this day, you've made a lifestyle change and transformation in yourself, not even from the outside, but from the inside out. You've certainly have gained the confidence and determination and, the resiliency that it takes. And then Amy Izzo, now 50 days of You Call It, where I was able to witness the one time before back in May that you were on that class. And I was like fired up. I'm like, yes, Amy Izzo, let's go. And we get it. Like, it can be somewhat overwhelming. It can be, a little bit of anxiety. And it's not about being at the right place at the right time. You really have to be the right person at the right place at the right time, willing to take ownership and responsibility to you being involved in that group. It's very non-judgmental, but I'll tell you, when you show up, you elevate your level of potential to that next stage. There's just something about it. When you're in a group of people that are on the same journey, same mission, all different fitness levels, different ages, and you show up and you're just like, hey, I'm a roast, base me, let's go. 30 minutes, 2 hours, 2% of your day, and there's no equipment required. You don't need anything to do this. And then we came up with the inception in December, which I'll have you speak on, Gayle, but an international, first it was a national, right? So now it's a national event. You had this amazing idea to just elevate the standard of what You Call It is. And you said, what would happen if I got 50 participants, one from each state in the United States, to participate in this high energy, high inspiring movement? And like, no pun intended, it is a movement, right? So speak on that. Like, how did that come about in your mind? And then how did you feel the first event went in December? And then what are we presenting today? Like, why are we doing this today so that we can get other people involved to feel as great as we feel right now?
Well, I just had this idea that, I have a lot of friends. A lot of friends are watching my journey, and they'll comment on it often. So I'm like, well, why don't I share my journey with them of what I'm doing and invite them to come in and do that? So I think it started with maybe even creating the group. So we have a Facebook group. It's called You Call It 30. And You Call It 30 is just, there's about 110 people in there right now. And this is where we post the links for the live events that we do each day. It's also, we post the replays because we found that a lot of people would prefer to do the replays, like we have our friend Jackie and Shelby, they've done over 40 replays and joined us live yesterday on their 5 people joined us live on their very first live, you call it, yesterday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time on a Sunday, and we had a full house. But the idea of and here's the reality, Steve, what you started, that it didn't matter location. It didn't matter that you're in Illinois and Amy's in Indiana and I'm in Michigan, because we have people from Colorado, California, Arizona, Connecticut, New York. I mean, literally they're all over. We can be in the morning, Amy, on a you call it with 10 people and there's 9 different states represented. That's the reality of, like, I get goosebumps thinking about that, because you don't have, it goes across time zones, across state boundaries, and you're not in your gym, but you're on your floor in your own space doing your movement. And I thought, wow, it'd be kind of cool. Let's get someone from every state to be on there. And then we like thinking about countries. Well, I know people in Australia, if we make it later enough in the day, it'll be the next day for them in the morning. So maybe they could get up and join us. So, we had on December 30th, we had 34 people that were on this live, you call it. We had 17 states represented and 4 countries represented. So for our first live international, global, whatever, it was really a lot of fun. And so, Steve, you and I said we should do this again, and let's pick like maybe the 3rd week in January, because see, everybody does something at the beginning of the year. I'm going to start exercising. This is my time. My diet starts on January 1st, and I'm going to start moving my body. And then they do it. And here we are, January coming up. So next Saturday, January 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing another global, you call it. And so, Steve, speak to us a little bit, because your background in the health club and fitness industry, what happens in this 3rd week of January for people's mindsets?
Well, what percent of people that are joining the gym on January 1st, what percent of people actually are still around come the 3rd, 4th week of January? Like, it's 10% stick. So 90% of people are falling off. And now they're at home getting their fitness in. So there's distractions, there's excuses, there's kids that are in the house. So more now than ever, we have to guard our commitment. We have to stay in a place where we are consistent, committed, and we're responsible for what we tell ourselves we're going to do. So this is almost like lighter fluid on the fire. So that's a great question, because who is this for? Like, we're talking like, who is this for when it comes to you call it 30 minutes, 2% of your day, no equipment required, body weight movement. It's for those that are experienced, those that want the challenge. They want that virtual connection, that environment. Because really, social distancing, how this came about was we're all social distance. I want to turn it into a virtual connection. Come connect with us. If fitness is part of your routine, come join us. If you are looking for a release in the day, you got the stress from the kids, you got work duties that are taking you over. You can't get outside because of the snow. You don't want to walk outside because of the weather conditions. Release your stress, some of the frustration. Release that with us. Come join us for that 2% of your day. And then if you're ready to move more, if you just want to take that step and you're the right person at the right place at the right time, and you're just starting your journey, that's who this is for. So really, it's for everybody that wants to come together. So we're pressing through. We are creating an inspiring environment so that the excuse of you saying, well, things got in the way, life went sideways. I told myself I was going to do this in the beginning of the year. We are here to tell you that we're going to be your greatest support and encouragement to you pressing through whatever you told yourself you were going to do in the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. We want you to become the greater, healthiest version of yourself, not just because it's January, but because you told yourself that 2021 is going to be your year, and this is your year to take it all back. perhaps you just didn't have the environment to do it in.
Mhm.
Right? So that's part of the reason why we're here. And then I know I touched on this, but let me make sure I'm very clear on this. What do you need? What do you need to be able to? Yeah,
Body.
yeah. You need body weight. Like you just need a physical presence. You need some energy. And by the way, if you don't have the energy going into the you call it, I assure you that you will have the energy when you're done, or at least it'll generate more energy for you to do more things throughout the rest of the day. It's going to boost your confidence, your self-esteem, your cardio conditioning, you name it. It's going to provide a lot more benefit. And you also have to, if I'm going to be honest, you have to have a desire for more. Like it's just not showing up. You have to have a desire to know that your greatest, healthiest days are still ahead of you by you taking the movement and making that decision. And how do you know you've made a real decision? Because you've taken an immediate action on it and you said, you know what? I'm not even waiting till Saturday to do the international workout. Hey, when's the next one? Oh, it's tomorrow? Guess what? I don't want to wait till tomorrow. When's the replay from today? Right? So make a real decision because you've taken immediate action. Just say, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm tired of being sick and tired. Let's get after it. And I promise you, here's what we expect. You just go at your own pace. You just go to whatever your greatest potential is. Don't compare yourself to whomever's on the screen. If I show up or when I show up, I'm not there to intimidate you. I'm there to inspire you and to encourage you and say, hey, if that technique's not working for you, let's make the modification so that you can actually get through the biomechanics of that movement so you feel 100% better about what you're doing. So we're here. Like we're here ready.
And Steve, I'll speak to that because in our group, there are people who are finding, they're finding their way off the couch. They're working their way to the floor. They need to have those regressions. And like, okay, full disclosure, I'm not your girl I know I can do these movements myself. I am not a physical fitness guru, but I can do the movements. I just don't know like the body well enough to really be the instructor, but we've got Nate. Nate's amazing. Nate will help you with regressions. All you got to do is like, okay, I can't do a push-up. How can I help me out? What can I do instead of a push-up? I can't do a burpee because I don't get down on the floor yet. What can I do instead of those calls? And we have that resource in our group, the You Call It 30 group, that will people who are willing to answer questions. This is all free too, by the way. We're not selling you anything. Here's what we're selling you. We're selling you the idea that you can make a difference in your own life if you just take action. I decided to take action, and it was hard. Be honest, it was hard. But I showed up the next day because Steve's cute and Steve's nice and he's not judgmental and he didn't make me feel like an idiot that I couldn't do those things, that everybody else, that it's so easy for some people to do. So I kept showing up and I kept showing up until I got the confidence in order for me to just say, okay, when my friend said, well, can we do a morning one? Because this was always at noon Central Time. My friend Wendy says, will you do one with me in the morning? She's in Colorado. I said, well, how about 7, 5 o'clock for her? But we did it. And that's turned into an ongoing for the last 14 weeks, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Amy comes every day. She's 6 a.m. So Amy, sometimes the recliner feels pretty great, doesn't it?
Sometimes I'm in the chair. Sometimes I'm in the chair and I'm pulling myself out of the chair to start.
But that's what it's all about. It's about getting started and just knowing if you're listening to this right now and you're like, I wish I could be like Amy. I wish I could be like Gayle. I wish I could be like Steve. You can. If you're seeing something of the enthusiasm that we have for this, you're just seeing a reflection of what's already in you. So you just need to take action. You just need to sign into the group. So, message Steve, Amy, myself, message us. We'll get you the link. We'll show you how to get started and sign up. I'm going to post a link also for Saturday. It's an opt-in page. It'll send you an email that'll have the link for Saturday. It'll have a link to our Facebook group. So please opt in. We're not going to spam you. We just want to know where you're from, and if you have the time in your schedule to join us this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for a 30-minute You Call It workout, we'd love to have you.
International workout. Let's do it.
I think it's time to turn the TV off for many folks and turn on the key to their life.
That's right. It just takes, you're a decision away. You're one decision, you're one small commitment away from unlocking your life.
I've heard that.
I've heard that too. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to be around positive, enthusiastic, energized people that care about themselves and where they're going, not necessarily like, we can talk all day. There's a whole nother topic on blissful dissatisfaction. But if you're happy with who you are in life, but you just want more, come join us.
Amen to that. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday. So once you post that link down, I'll share it out as well. And it's going to be another epic opportunity for us all to get together. And I anticipate 50 people plus. There's going to be 50 people from states and countries and international presence. I am fired up, Gayle and Amy. Come on, Amy, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, off the live stream. Thank you for joining. I always just feel better being in the same room with you two. Just if I must